All right, I'm back. We took a potty break. Okay, we're going to start on our agave. Let's see. First, I think what I'm going to do, and this actually probably should have been done before I took that break. You'll want to do it before you take your break. Because you're going to put down the background, probably take a little break, do the clouds, do the sunburst, and then you're probably going to have to take another quick break. So before you take that other quick break, I would have them go ahead and add this black, the ground right here. And it can be bumpy, lumpy, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. But they're going to go ahead and get that in there. And then if they want to finish off those edges in black, I guess they don't have to do the pink, right? Because this is all going to be black down here on the bottom. So sometimes I forget those little things. But yeah, so get that in there, and then we're going to work on this agave. Okay. Now, I was going to use a stencil for the agave, but I really don't think it's necessary. I think that you can have them sketch it like just a very, very, very simple little sketch of some of the main leaves, and then I think they'll be fine. So we're going to start with the tall center agave leaf, right? So I just make my line and then kind of thicken it up like so. Okay. And they don't even have to sketch out the leaves if they don't want to, you could just have them kind of work little lines down. I'm just going to do like the tall leaves that are going to kind of span around, and then we'll fill in the smaller leaves. And these can run off the edge. So I'd like to leave a little room in between, because like I said, we're going to bring in some shorter ones that are more to the front. And they're pretty straight. They're not very bendy or anything. So that's going to be like the first thing. And we're going to work on those first. And then the forward ones that are like opening that we're going to see at the end, those will come in last. So for this, I like to use a combination of the filbert and the little round brush. And I'm going to make a nice dark green. So this is a blue agave. So we kind of want it to be to the green, bluish green tones. So I'm just going to take a little bit of both blues. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. That's going to make a really, really dark green. And let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's really nice and dark. That's where I'm going to start. You can even like add just a smidge of white, just a smidge, and that'll kind of help bring out that green shade just a little bit. I'd probably have him do that. Okay, just a tiny bit of white. It just kind of makes the color look a little bit more milky. But I'm going to use my filbert first to just fill in, and then I'll come back in with my little tiny round to work those little tips. So as they come in, we're just going to bring them in. They're all going to converge here into the center. Okay. And as I pull down my stroke, I get a little bit heavier with it, so it's wider at the base. My one here in the center is pretty hefty. All right. Gonna mix up a little bit more color. Just a smidge of white. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna switch over to my little round brush and finish off those little points. And they can work out. Maybe that works better for them, or they can work in. I'd have them try it both ways and see what works best for them. Just kind of thickening up my leaves here just a little bit because this middle one is so big. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to deepen up. I'm just going to kind of deepen up the center here a little bit. So I've got my blue green mixture that we were using. Just a touch of white. I'm going to add just a little bit of black to that. That's going to make it a little bit darker. And where these are all like converging down here towards the bottom, it's going to be really dark. So just going to work, like I've got this center leaf, right? So I'm just going to start down at the base and just deepen and shadow up the base of that a little bit. Same over here. They're just going to get a little bit more dark and shadowed down there where they're all meeting. I just pull out. All right. Okay. So while that's drying, I'm going to bring in some of the like smaller little leaves. Here I've got my, so we've got some of these little guys that are back here towards the back that are peeking out. So we're going to add a few of those little ones in, and we're going to be using, I'm going to use that darker color. I'll blend up a little bit more. A little bit black, just a touch of black. Okay, and so I'm just gonna start over here. So I'm gonna have like a little one coming out from the bottom. And I'll have another one kind of jutting out here. And you can just bring that on, just directly on in. I'm going to do a little one peeking out right here. A little one peeking out back here. So these are the leaves that are kind of on the far side of the plant that we're seeing peeking out from the other side. Let's see, I'll do another little one here. So they're going to be a little bit shorter. So just pick a few little areas and bring some of these in here. Let's see. Just gonna bring that right down into that little nook. They're on the other side, so they're not going to come down in front of these. They're going to come down into that nook, the ones that are up here on the other side. Let's see. We're going to have one peeking out here. And I'm going to do another small one here. This one, just going to bring it right in there to the center. Okay. So we've got the little background ones. Now we have to work on the little ones that are going to be coming out this way. So that's going to be, I've got this one here. It's going to cut like right up in front of everything. And you can do 2 or 3. I'll do like 3. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do that one. And then maybe I'll do another one here. So, okay. So what we got to do is make a lighter color that's going to stand out from this. So I'm just going to blend up a little bit more of my blues, my yellow, and I'm going to use quite a bit more white. So that color is, it's quite a bit lighter. Okay, rinse out my brush. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to pick a spot. It can go anywhere, like here, but I'm going to pick like right here. And I don't know if it's going to be light enough. We'll see. It's going to cut right down in front of our other leaves. Okay. It's going to look a little weird until we get all the highlighting and all the shadowing and everything done. I'll do another one here. It's going to have them all kind of converge here in this center area. Really going to widen up the base of those. All right, and then maybe I'll do one more, like a shorty. Okay. So now all we have to do is highlight and shadow some of these, and it's pretty much done. Okay. So I've got my color that I was just using, that lighter shade. I'm going to make a little bit more. We want it to look kind of bluish green. And since we're going to be doing the highlighting, they definitely want to keep this brush nice and clean, nice and pointy. Paint just goes on the tip of that brush, just the tip. And some of these bigger foreground leaves, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start up here at the tip, and I'm going to highlight one side. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to say this one here is going to be cutting in front of it, so I'm not going to take it all the way down into that bottom. Okay, this one here, like I said, is going to be in front of it. So its highlight is going to cut down, kind of cut down in front of it. And you can highlight one side, you can highlight both sides. You can do one side maybe a little bit brighter. I don't know if I like that. Kind of play with the darks and the lights. I'd have them have a little bit on hand of both the dark and the light so that they can kind of go back and forth in between the two colors if they mess something up or whatever. If they just want them to blend better together. I'm going to leave the ones that are off, those back ones that we did that are really, really dark. I'm going to leave those alone. Okay. So this is a front one. Just going to give a little bit there on that tip. This is a front one. This is definitely a front one. Maybe I'll just give it a little bit more of a highlight. Now, when we start getting into these lower ones down here, they're going to be in shadow. So they're not going to get a lot of highlight. So we're just kind of working on these up here. I've got these inside ones that I did. I'm just kind of highlighting them just a little bit more. This is another one right there. Okay. And then the very last thing that we're going to do is like just really, really dark, like dark here in these, on these front ones. So I'm just going to use some straight black. And I just want to make sure that these are really shadowed. These ones up here in the, these little baby ones down here, kind of giving them a little black shadow sort of on the bottom. We just want them a lot darker down here. Okay. And even like these forward facing, these forward ones, these three that we put in, like you could even take a little bit of that and just run it up the base of those stalks just a little bit. Just makes it look a little bit more natural. And I'm noticing that my little sunburst didn't really work. You're not really seeing it like I was hoping. So I'm almost wondering if I should just scrap that. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to add like just a bit more vibrant, just little touches of highlights. Take some white and yellow. And on some of these top leaves, maybe just lightly touch right over the highlight, just a little bit, just on those little tips. It makes it look like the sun's hitting on. I like that. That looks good. Okay, and with that, let's see. Oh, I forgot about the little tiny baby ones off in the distance. So just imagine like we're taking a picture up close of this one, and we might be seeing the tops of some little agaves off in the distance. So this is done with a little tiny brush, and um, they're not like super detail. Okay. And we could just, you could just make it kind of look like there's some grasses and things like that too. But yeah, this would be the last step. Okay. And with that, I'm done. So practice your agave. It really doesn't have to be too difficult. I mean, just as long as they're more shadowed towards the bottom and they're lighter and brighter out here. And these forward ones, you can kind of see their outline a little bit. Cool. That's great. But it's a pretty simple painting. So, all right, have fun with this one. Catch you later.